All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my unique pleasure to introduce you to the woman of light. Marilyne Andersen, full professor and head of laboratory at EPFL. Join me here, Marilyne. Very warm welcome.
Thank you.
I have a very interesting fun fact about you that you told me, right? You wanted and had the idea that it would be easier to teach children about science by writing comic books, right? And somehow it didn't come to that. You ended up actually doing a PhD at EPFL, being at Berkeley, being at the MIT, so an incredible career in academia. But maybe you want to share yourself a little bit. These comic books never became reality, or yes?
Well, a four-page one.
Sorry, you have no microphone. A four-page one.
Did come to reality on the Ohm law, electricity law, and that was my project at the end of my physics degree, to try to see if the comic book would be better than my former high school teachers, and it was.
And it was. Shall we sit over there? I'll let you go here. You will have a more comfortable mic. Back at the EPFL, you became the dean of ENAC School for 5 years. You have co-founded a startup, I also understand, which we will speak about it a little bit later. I think it's a very interesting thing. But your passion actually is the psychophysiological aspects of light, right? And would you like to tell us a little bit more? What does that mean, and how can we imagine your research?
Yeah, so it's actually very simple. Light is a fundamental need that we all have. We need light during the day, we need no light during the night. And after 20 years of research in my career, this is all I can tell you. No. It impacts us through our eyes, and it regulates our circadian rhythms. It therefore has a huge impact on our health, our immune system, the quality of our sleep, our alertness, and all of these are really important aspects of light. It's also beautiful, it reveals spaces, it allows us to see, to experience, to wander around. So it has many facets, and is probably why I started to get interested in it at the end of my physics degree.
And we see here an example image of an exhibition that you are curating. So you also have a passion for the arts, or how do you come from the research to these wonderful objects of light and exhibitions?
Yeah, this is the good thing about light, is it can drive you to any place, the art included. And so this was the opportunity for me to talk about science, not through comic books, but through art. And by talking about what I just told you, chronobiology is the right term, so the effect of light as a giver of time to the living through experiences that talk to your emotions, that talk to you as an individual, something that you can take for yourself and that you can then interpret in your own way by being aware of it, and then leave the exhibition space with whatever you wanted to take out of it. But usually the discussions I had with people were, the most obvious one was, so light is really important, and it is. But also that it would change behavior. People wanted to change their behavior according to the light hygiene aspects that they discovered in the exhibition.
And how can we imagine this, such an exhibition is physical objects or images, or how can we imagine this, because we only have a picture here?
Well, you should come on Thursday in a week to the vernissage at MUDAC, which is where two pieces that I have developed will be exhibited. So it is in the one that we saw on the right is the one that you will see at MUDAC. This is a place that is called an immersive space. So you get into a space that is supposed to represent an oppressive city, and it's a piece that talks about how living in an urban environment disconnects us from the sky and from the day-night cycle under which we evolve. So by being in a dense space, we don't have that connection, and yet we need the rhythm of light to drive our health.
I certainly should make time to visit that exhibition, and I hope many people in the room too. You are such a profound researcher and scientist, right? Where do you see the role of academia in society today?
It might be more important than ever to reinstill a love in sciences and therefore a trust in academia as the place where evidence-based sort of thinking can happen. So I think it has to serve society first of all. It has to help the young generation develop with a critical mind, with a way to not take things for granted, but question things. This is all, research is all about that. We discover something and then people can question it. And I think this is the essence of science and is one of the missions of academia. So it is about educating the young generation to be ready for a world of transformation that is awaiting us in already next year, definitely in 5 and 10 years, as well as realizing that research today needs a very deep grounding, but also needs to connect between fields, because true discovery today happens at the interface between conventional fields. So this requires a different mindset, maybe, slightly more open, and a wanting to collaborate.
And that might sound wonderful and also very theoretical, but you also cover the practical aspect of it all, right? You co-founded a startup. What motivated you to do that? And by the way, what does the startup do?
So the startup, without surprise, called Oculite Dynamics, is a way to bring actually the research that we developed in the last 15 years to practice, to more specifically inform designers and sort of the real estate sector about how to make buildings more better fit to induce well-being through light. So it is about accompanying architectural projects in this quest by using the models that we have developed over 15 years in neuroscience and in mathematics to try to bring it in a way that can be useful for buildings. And the biggest reward we get in this startup is when people notice the light. And this had happened in one of our projects where people suddenly come into a space and said, "Who designed the light? Because it's special." This is the biggest reward, is to have an impact then in a real space.
So I would have many more questions about this, but let's give opportunity to the audience to see if we got any questions from the audience. Other than that, we will not run short on topics. Certainly not. Maybe let's take the first one here. Artificial intelligence is transforming research and academia. What excites you most about AI's role in scientific discovery, and what challenges should we be mindful of?
Indeed, I'm extremely excited by the potential of AI in scientific discovery. It can become a companion, not only in better understanding what the research around has already been done and is supporting, but also helping us as a companion to move further by having this big knowledge, this vast, immense knowledge that no one human being can have. So it is a wonderful opportunity. It also bears a risk of us possibly losing our sense of purpose, in the sense that we need to make sure that we keep meaning in what we do, that we act and work and live through something that makes us vibrate, that gives a meaning to our own life. And by outsourcing everything that seemingly is boring, we take the risk of outsourcing too much and becoming passive users of tools we have invented ourselves, and this is not something that we want. We want the companionship, but we want to stay, to own still the sense of purpose, the meaning, and this comes through ethics.
And in your research that mostly deals with all of these aspects of light, how do you use modern technology there, or any AI innovations that happen in your field?
So we do use AI, but this will become a very technical discussion. We use it, for example, to better understand what makes people look in certain directions more than others, called saliency maps. And so trying to use AI, so machine learning mostly, to sort of anticipate what matters, so that ultimately come back to basically what drives, again, our emotions, what we like, what we need to feel good indoors and outdoors.
Okay, then sustainability is a very important aspect of your work, right? How do you see energy efficient lighting and daylight strategy shaping the future of our cities and homes? I mean, you said before your biggest reward is when people notice the light, right?
Absolutely, yes. So it is part of the many strategies we need for a sustainable built environment in the future. It actually calls to our most basic needs. These are physiological needs. Light is a physiological need, not like having marble in your bathroom or having some fancy carpet. Light is really part of what we actually need in buildings and outside. So it is not difficult to make this free light, the light under which we evolved, an asset in a building, and therefore it's one of the many quests important for good living and good buildings.
Now, you have such an accomplished career, right? And such an incredible path, multifaceted, from research to, yes, not comic books, but a startup. Where do you take your energy from? Do you have a special light treatment for yourself to stay energized?
Well, I am a light addict, it's true, a daylight addict. So whenever I have a chance, I actually work outside rather than inside. So I do have this need on a daily basis. But it's also about, I think, social interactions, about inspiring people, about conversations we can have. Every time you feel you did something good, you contributed somehow to the collective good through a conversation, through advising PhDs, through mentoring students, to talking with colleagues, through making a discovery, whatever it is, this gives you energy, doesn't take you energy.
So it's people that give you energy in the end, besides the light.
It's true, and I think I'm not unique in that way.
Yeah, absolutely not. What is the next big thing for you? The next exciting thing? The next, what you are trying to achieve? Your next milestone?
Well, I have a hard time answering that because there happens to be an exciting milestone coming up, but to stay generic until it does come up, it is about contributing one way or another to the collective good. So I need to feel a sense of a mission for society or for us, and doing that with whatever assets I can bring, whether this is about leadership, whether this is about science and instill a love for science, whether this is about inspiring the young generation. I think any of these can have a very important impact, and I discovered that notably during my deanship, as being a leader led me to doing something that people appreciated, and I think that was also my biggest reward.
And I can firmly feel your energy and the sense of purpose going into all of this. Marilyne, thank you so much for this really enlightening conversation.
Thank you.